Now, after 2.5 years of trial and error, I figured out simple and effective systems that I use to help me work less and make more money. So I've genuinely never felt happier, and I don't even remember the last time I felt burnt out and overwhelmed during wedding season. I just want other photographers to feel what I'm feeling, because I know that there's so many of us that I used to joke around too. I'd be like, see you next winter when it's our off season. We wouldn't see each other. And it's but it's not funny. It's not a joke. And once I felt the results of actually not being burnt out and still being able to do what I wanted, that's why I'm sharing this with you, because I want to show you that it's possible too. When I first started my wedding photography business back in 2011, I made just $5,000 in my business. Now, I bring in multiple six figures per year while working only 30-hour weeks serving my dream couples. I'm here to help you discover that it's so possible to have what you want when you want in your business, so that you can create the life you've always dreamed of and deserve. Yay, welcome back to the podcast. I am so freaking excited. I don't know if you could tell through my energy right now about this episode. It's literally called Top 3 Reasons to Fall in Love with Outsourcing, because I have fallen in love with it, and I'm pretty sure that after you listen to this episode, you will see why. You will have a huge understanding of why. And I know some of you that follow me along on Instagram, you know that I've been on this outsourcing journey. I've been teaching outsourcing, and I'm just so excited to finally expand more on it through the podcast, because there's only so much I could do on Instagram. So this is a way where I can kind of dive in a little bit deeper, and you guys can get to know a little bit about why outsourcing is such a valuable tool for me in my business, in my life in general. So yeah, I'm excited to dive in. So okay, reason number 1, and this is a great reason, you get to make more money. So the number 1 reason I find photographers are terrified to outsource is that they think it'll cost them too much and they will end up making less money. But I'm so damn excited to tell you that it's actually the opposite. Let me give you a real life example with my own numbers in my business. So in September of 2018, I had 11 weddings booked that month. Yep, 11. The way that it happened was that there were 5 weekends that month. So I had 5 double headers and 1 Wednesday wedding. The only reason I took on that many weddings in that month was because I knew I would be responsible with it. So meaning I would still have a lot of energy to give on all those wedding days, and all the couples' wedding photos would be on time because I was already successfully outsourcing my editing then. So as a result, I made a lot of money that month for not even grinding that hard. Well, except for the 5 double headers in a row, right? You guys know what I mean by that. But let me share with you the real numbers from that month. Okay. So I brought in $61,237 in revenue that month from those wedding bookings alone, which again, remember, I would not have booked if I was editing and culling everything myself, because that would have been literally burnout central. Okay, so the cost of outsourcing my editing for me that month through the image salon was $2,900, or sorry, let me say this in a better way, $2,920. That's not that much, right? Comparatively in how much I brought in. The cost of me outsourcing my culling for that month alone was $661 for 11 weddings. It's pretty good. So guess what? Drum roll. That means after paying for outsourcing, my revenue was $57,656. So basically, if you look at it, one wedding booking of $3,500 paid for me outsourcing. Paid for me outsourcing all that work, and it saved me, listen to this, 121 hours that month. That's 30 freaking hours per week. How amazing is that? I literally did all the calculations here so that I could prove to you how true this really is, because this is the number one fear of all photographers. And I know because I've been there too. Because, you know, I used to think like, okay, well, why don't I just spend the time to edit the wedding instead of spending $300? Why am I giving that money away? Well, it's because now I'm able to take on more wedding bookings. Anyway, I'm going to get all into this episode. I was just too excited to start sharing. But okay, here's another calculation. I would have been working, listen to this whole month, I would have been working 243 hours that month, which equals 61 hours per week. So if I was editing and culling everything myself, that's how many hours I would be working. Plus that also includes shooting hours, just so you know. But instead, I was working 30 hours per week in the busiest wedding month of my whole entire life. How amazing is that? Okay. So that was a great reason, number one. It probably blew your mind because I know it has blown my students' mind before, and it blows my mind too. Okay, so now let's move on to reason number two. You get to focus on working on things you enjoy most. So I'm pretty sure that you got into photography because you wanted to shoot, right? You wanted to create and document memories for others. But then as you start to grow your business, I'm sure you've noticed that shooting actually only takes up 5 to 10% of our to-do list. And I know this from experience. We end up wearing all the freaking hats, and it can feel like we are running on a never-ending hamster wheel full of to-do lists that have nothing to do with shooting. And we also do this. We keep lying to ourselves that, oh, next month won't be as busy. I just need to get through this month. Trust me, I've been there. Burnt out as fuck, not feeling my best self, relationships suffering, and lying to myself that this would end soon. But I wasn't doing anything about it. I wasn't doing anything different. So if I kept doing the same actions, aka spinning on the hamster wheel and doing everything in my business myself, why did I expect different results? Why did I expect that, oh, next month will be more balanced? It just doesn't add up. But the great news is that as photographers, we make our money while shooting, not editing or culling or blogging, etc. So let me ask you this. Why would you be spending your precious time on $5 to $25 per hour tasks that you don't enjoy as much when you could be shooting more to bring in more money per hour while doing what you love most? To me, that's a no-brainer. It totally makes sense. And I'm not saying, by the way, that all photographers don't enjoy editing or culling or blogging, because I totally know that those tasks can be fun to work on too. But great news, there is a way to still have a hand in working on all those tasks, but for a fraction of the time and for only $5 to $25 per hour. This is exactly what I teach in my Outsourcing Made Easy for Wedding Photographers online course. For example, if you enjoy editing, you can still do some you can still do some pre-edits on a wedding and then have fun seeing the transformation in those photos, but then send the rest out to be edited and save yourself loads of time and sanity. For example, I had a student that had a eureka moment when she took my outsourcing course. She said this: Sarah, I thought I loved editing and that I wasn't going to let it go. I took your course so I could learn how to outsource other things in my business. But now I realize I love editing the initial 100 images from a wedding, but the rest really drains me. So it turns out I'm going to choose on focusing on outsourcing my editing first, because that is where I lose most of my time in my life and I freaking want it back. So do you see the difference in thinking you love editing or you love editing a small portion of a wedding? So pay attention to what your heart and body is telling you. Do you love editing a whole wedding or just a handful of photos before you start feeling drained? It's just some food for thought for you. Or maybe you're someone that loves to blog, but you feel like you don't have enough time to make that happen. The whole point to outsourcing is for you to outsource what drains you and then keep the things that excite and light you up. So if you want help figuring out what you should outsource first in your wedding photography business, I've actually created a quiz for you to help you out with that. You can head over to sarahmonica.com/quiz for the 3-minute quiz. And also FYI, when you take the quiz along with your result, you'll get my actual outsourcing wedding workflow checklist, so you can see my step-by-step process for every single wedding that I work on in each season. And the off season is the perfect time to implement outsourcing into your business. So I would make sure you jump on that quiz and free worksheet now so you can start visualizing how you can make outsourcing work for you. And I'll make sure to repeat this at the end of the episode if you're just like totally into this in the moment and you don't want to break up, get, distracted by heading over somewhere else. So I'll remind you at the end of the episode. So don't worry, you won't forget. I'm taking a moment to pause this episode to share an exciting free resource with you that I know you'll definitely want to take advantage of. It's a space where I'll be going live at a minimum every 2 weeks to answer your questions, along with content to keep you motivated in between podcast episodes. It's a way for us to connect about photography, business, personal development in an uplifting, productive, and safe space. This free resource I'm telling you about right now is the Shine and Thrive podcast community on Facebook. What I felt was missing with me just podcasting was actually interacting with you and answering the questions you have along the way. I know what it feels like to feel stuck, and at times all you need is that one question answered or that kick in the ass, in the best way possible, to get your momentum going again. In short, I want to be there for you to answer your questions so that you can achieve those big and exciting results you dream of. The Ask Me Anything live sessions I'll be doing every 2 weeks are exclusive only to this community, so you want to make sure to join and get your question ready for me. So head over to Facebook right now, type in Shine and Thrive Podcast Community, and request to join. We will be waiting for you on the other side with open arms. I cannot wait to connect with you. Okay, now episode number 3. Yep. Now reason number 3, you get to say bye to stress and burnout. Oh my gosh, this is a big one. I mean, think about it. If we don't have our health, we have nothing. We can't do the things we enjoy in life with the people we love most if we are feeling low energy or end up developing a bad health issue, or we simply leave this planet early because we didn't take care of our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Health seems to be something that we procrastinate on taking care of because it's so easy to take it for granted every day. Because getting unhealthy takes time, and it's hard to feel like we need to change something if we haven't hit rock bottom. I'm sure you know what I mean from also life experience in general. But why aren't we being proactive and stopping ourselves from hitting rock bottom before we inevitably get there? Like, why? Let me say that again. But why not be proactive and stop ourselves from hitting rock bottom before we inevitably get there? So it takes many of the same actions repeated day in and day out that creates years and years of those actions. And then before we know it, we look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, when did I do this to myself? And I know because I've been there. I had a moment 6 years ago where I realized via seeing myself in a photo that I weighed the most I have ever weighed. After seeing that photo, I looked at myself in the mirror and I realized I was fooling myself, and I literally thought I had a six-pack for years. I actually had a bigger belly from all the junk food I was eating and consuming and the 12 to 15 hour days sitting at the computer. And I literally thought I had a six-pack. It was just crazy how my brain tricked me that way. So then after I noticed that, I had this kind of realization. I paid attention to how else I was feeling, and I noticed that I felt less energized. I was spending less time with friends. I mean, I was spending no time with friends, to be honest. I wasn't even being physically active in sports, which was one of my loves before starting my business. So I also lost a sense of who I was, and I just felt so lost. I was no longer connected to myself. I couldn't keep on going like that, and I decided, fuck this. I want to get movement back into my life, and I want to get my life back. So I started moving more because I knew that if I wasn't taking care of myself, I would have no energy for others. Once I started to work out 3 to 4 times a week again, I noticed that each day consisted of literally just work and working out, over and over. There was no time for anything else. So I set out on a journey to figure out how to successfully solve this problem for myself. And that meant I needed to figure out how to get help in my business, how to outsource successfully. Now, after 2.5 years of trial and error, I figured out simple and effective systems that I use to help me work less and make more money. So I've genuinely never felt happier, and I don't even remember the last time I felt burnt out and overwhelmed during wedding season. Like, oh, I just want other photographers to feel what I'm feeling, because I know that there's so many of us that just, I used to joke around too. I'd be like, see you next winter when it's our off season. Like, we wouldn't see each other. And it's like, but it's not funny. It's not a joke. Like, and once I felt the results of actually not being burnt out and still being able to do what I wanted, that's why I'm like sharing this with you, because I want to show you that it's possible too. So it's been lately so easy for me, and I've had time for myself, quality time with Rory, and my health journey is also at an all-time high, with eating like I've never eaten before and being physically active like minimum 4 times a week. It's just amazing. So just to give you an idea, thanks to outsourcing, during wedding season, I only work 30-hour weeks, and that includes shooting. That's like 4-hour work days during the work week. And last year in 2019, while I was working those hours, get this, I brought in $210,000 in revenue in my business. And I want to show you that this is so possible for you too. So some of you may ask though, what do you do with all that extra free time? Well, I now have added on the education portion to my business, as you know, that I'm so freaking passionate about. And I would not have been able to do this if I was still stuck in overwhelm with having my business running me. Do you see what I did there? I truly have realized that back then, my business was running me. I wasn't running my business. So now I get to do 2 things I love, which are documenting memories and teaching others how to create more freedom and money in their lives. It's like, I just feel like an all-time high in my career right now. It's amazing. That's why I've fallen in love with outsourcing, right? Because it's giving me these opportunities. So the education side of my business adds another 10 to 15 hours on average per week in the wedding season. So that means now I work a regular 40 to 45 hour work week. But the tasks I'm working on are high revenue generating tasks. So that means I have more hours to bring in even more income for myself and my family. Another thing I love to do, I'm a nerd at this with my extra time, is I learn a lot so that I can grow personally and so I can grow my business, because I believe that the two are intertwined. You need to be able to grow personally while if you want great success in your business, you need great success in your mind, body, and spirit. And yeah, so I want to be able to grow personally so I can grow my business to the next level, which, as you know, is to help as many photographers as possible lead a more free and balanced lifestyle with the people that mean most to them. So another goal that I have moving forward. So right now I'm working 40 to 45 hour work weeks, right? But again, freedom is my number one value. So my next goal is to only work part-time, which is 25 hours per week with wedding photography and education combined, so that when Rory and I start having kids, we are so set with so much time to spend with them. And I see me easily making that happen for us in the following 2 years. So I'm so excited for that. And I'm sharing all of this because I want to show you that if it's possible for me, it's so possible for you too. Why wouldn't it be? If all it takes, it's just a specific series of actions that need to be done, and poof, you can also be more free in your life and business and bring in that money that you freaking deserve, because hard work doesn't have to equal, hard work isn't the only way to getting paid how you deserve, right? There's a way to work smarter, not harder, so that you can make the income that you want and you get to spend as much time with yourself and family and friends as possible. So having both is totally possible and doable, and I want to be that example for you. So those were the top 3 reasons to fall in love with outsourcing, and I'd say those are pretty freaking powerful. If you are done with the hamster wheel you've been on and you want to learn the step-by-step actions I teach in my Outsourcing Made Easy for Wedding Photographers online course, then I invite you to check out my waitlist that I just opened up so you can be the first to know when the course will be coming out in March. So it'll only be available in March for a week or two, and then the next one won't be available until November 2020 or March 2021. I haven't decided yet. So if you finally want 2020 to be your most effortless wedding season yet, sign up so you can be in the know. So if you want to sign up, just head over to sarahmonica.com/waitlist for that. And again, as a reminder, if you want to take the quiz to learn what you should outsource first and also get your hands on that outsourcing wedding workflow checklist for free, then head over to sarahmonica.com/quiz. So thank you so much for tuning in again. I'm always so grateful for your company. It means so much because thanks to you, I get to do what I love and spread the knowledge, spread the love, everything. I hope this opened up your eyes to how incredible outsourcing is. And I would love to hear from you if this gave you a whole new perspective shift on it. Feel free to DM me on Instagram. I love hanging out in there because I could just send you back a voice note. I'm super efficient with that stuff and it just connects us better. So, and who doesn't love connection? So yeah, I would love to hear from you and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah no H, Monica with a K photo to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.